You were never meant to earn it, only to remember, long before survival became your second skin. Before the world told you what success should look like, before numbers replaced your name, there was a knowing, a silent, sacred knowing buried beneath the noise of striving. It pulsed beneath every breath you took as a child. It whispered when you sang to yourself in your room. It echoed when you stared at the stars and somehow felt safe. It said, "You are already it. You never had to chase wealth. You were born from it. You were formed in the womb of divine supply. Your breath is a currency older than time. Your voice is a scroll of ancient codes, but somewhere, you forgot. You inherited the ache to prove yourself. You learned to labor for love, to perform for permission, to sacrifice softness for survival, and in that forgetting, you made a vow without knowing. If I just work hard enough, maybe I'll be worthy of receiving, but that was never your truth. That was never God's plan. You were not made to earn. You were made to remember. So breathe now, and let the memory return. Let your body feel what it knew before words were taught to lie. Let your chest rise with softness, not striving. Let your spine straighten without pressure. Let your jaw unclench from centuries of generational proving. Say this out loud. I now receive the life I once believed I had to earn. Say it again, not with your throat, but with your knowing. I now receive the life I once believed I had to earn. Can you feel what just shifted? The gates didn't open, they dissolved, because they were never locked to begin with. You were standing in the field the entire time, but your eyes were taught to look for fences. Lack is not real. It is rehearsed, it is performed, it is passed down like a family tradition of silence. But truth was always louder. Truth doesn't need evidence. Truth needs remembrance. And this is the moment you remember. What if it was never the money that was far away, but the memory that was hidden beneath shame? What if God never stopped speaking provision over your life, but you stopped recognizing your own voice as sacred? You don't need to earn permission to be provided for. You are provisioned because you exist. You are resourced because you were chosen. And heaven already decided. Your name is abundance. Say this with breath and bravery. Wealth remembers me. Say it again. Wealth remembers me. If you feel this truth, type it in the comments now. Wealth remembers me. Let your wallet hear it. Let your nervous system hear it. Let the silence you once agreed to feel the rupture of your return. You are not lazy. You were not behind. You were not forgotten. You were just waiting for the moment you remembered. And that moment is this one. You've earned nothing because earning was never required. You were spoken into supply. You were breathed into abundance. You were named by divine overflow. Even your hesitation is holy. It means you are touching something sacred. So breathe again, gently, softly. Feel what you thought you had to prove your way into. Feel it, receiving you. You don't need to climb to become rich. You need to descend into your own name. You are the doorway. You are the decree. You are the inheritance remembering itself in human form. Money does not need you to perform. It needs you to return. Return to your origin. Return to your divine rhythm. Return to the truth you traded for approval. Say this out loud. I am no longer surviving. Say it again like it is the last time you will ever beg God for what was already written. I am no longer surviving. Now, say this. I am the wealth. I am the one supply responds to. I am the voice heaven already said yes to. Let it echo. Let it weep through your spine. Let your childhood hear it. Let your past identities melt in its fire. You are not healing to become worthy. You are healing because you already are. You are not transforming to prove value. You are transforming because value is your birthright. There is no more earning. There is only remembering. There is no more chasing. There is only choosing. You were never behind. You were on divine timing. Even your delay was sacred choreography. Even your waiting was wisdom. You were not lost. You were being seasoned. You were not rejected. You were being protected from paths too small for your anointing. God never forgot you. God held you in silence because the silence was sacred. The silence was surgery. And now, the silence is over. Now the voice has returned. And that voice is yours. This is your spoken reality. This is your I am decree. This is the moment heaven recognizes itself in your voice. Say it. I now receive the life I once believed I had to earn. Say it again, slow, final, like a vow to your own future. I now receive the life I once believed I had to earn. You don't need to prove anymore. You only need to remember. And today, you did. You can't be rich while you're still apologizing for taking up space. apologizing for asking, apologizing for existing with a dream too big for the room they wanted to keep you in. But hear me now. You were not created to shrink into comfort for others. You were sculpted in divine fire. You were crowned before your first breath, and heaven never once asked you to earn that crown. So why have you been whispering when your spirit was forged to declare? Why do your prayers sound like apologies when they were meant to be decrees? Your softness is not guilt, it is power wrapped in velvet. But the world taught you shame. They taught you to apologize for receiving too much, wanting too much, shining too brightly, speaking too boldly. And every time you said, "I'm sorry," when what you meant was, "I am," you bent your wealth backward, you curled your voice into silence, you sent money, mixed signals, when your spirit was screaming, yes, no more bowing in rooms you were meant to lead, no more toning down divinity to make trauma feel comfortable, no more saying thank you with a tremble, when your soul wants to say, "I was born for this." Say this now, "I no longer apologize for being provided for." Say it again, "I no longer apologize for being provided for." Let your body feel the grief it's carried, not just yours, but your mother's, and her mother's, and hers. They all apologized, too, for needing too much, for resting too long, for dreaming too wide, and you came to break that cycle, not survive it. You cannot be rich if you are still shrinking. You cannot command wealth if your tongue still wears guilt like a rosary. You were not meant to beg God. You were meant to mirror God, to speak like someone already spoken into abundance, to breathe like someone already approved, to exist like someone already answered. This is your spoken reality. Say it again. I no longer apologize for being provided for. What if every time you apologized for your wealth, your spirit flinched? What if every moment you downplayed your brilliance, heaven paused, waiting for your correction? You've been sending signals of separation when God only speaks oneness. Supply does not come to the one who begs. It rushes toward the one who remembers, and memory lives in your voice, not in perfection, not in performance, but in permission. Do you permit yourself to be provided for without guilt, without proof, without apology? Say this with reverence. I am no longer sorry for my supply. Type it in the comments. Let the silence you inherited be broken by your voice. I am no longer sorry for my supply. This is not entitlement, this is embodiment. There is a difference. Entitlement demands, embodiment declares. Embodiment whispers from the root. I came here to remember that God already said yes. You can be soft and sacred and still fully resourced. You can be kind and divine and still fully paid. You can walk with grace and still command miracles. You are allowed to receive without guilt, allowed to overflow without apology, allowed to own what was always yours. Say this. I am not taking, I am reclaiming. Say it again until shame loses its grip. Say it until your inner child believes you. You never needed to explain your worth. You only needed to stop apologizing for it. Money does not obey the apologetic. Money obeys the approved, and you were already approved, before the striving, before the proving, before the script of struggle was written in your nervous system. Even then, you were worthy. Even when you whispered, "I'm sorry for being helped," God was saying you are holy. Even when you said, "I don't need that much," your soul was saying we came for overflow. Even when you lowered your rates, your needs, your voice, your spirit wept at the betrayal, not to punish you, but to remind you, you were never meant to apologize for what heaven already ordained. So return now, to the version of you who never said sorry, to the voice before guilt rewrote its melody, to the you who remembers that receiving is sacred. This is not about greed, it is about God, God, who delights in your delight, God, who measures wealth not by effort, but by embodiment, God, who asks nothing of you, except remembrance. Say this with stillness. I am no longer surviving, I am the supply. Let your bones hear it. Let your breath deepen into it. You don't need to explain it. You only need to believe it. You don't need to prove it. You only need to permit it. Because the moment you stop apologizing, you start magnetizing. The moment you stop hiding, provision starts running toward your name again. And not because you earned it, but because you remembered you never had to. So say this slowly, fully. I no longer apologize for being provided for. And now say, I am no longer sorry for my supply. This is the rupture. This is the return. This is the remembrance of the you who doesn't ask for permission to be prosperous. She just is, and she always was. They taught you grammar, but they never taught you gravity. They taught you spelling, but they never taught you spell work. They taught you how to form a sentence, but they never taught you how to form a reality. And so you spoke as they taught you, correct, polite, small. You said the right things, but the wrong energy lived beneath them, and money did not respond to your grammar. It responded to your frequency, because the universe is not listening for punctuation. It is listening for power. It is listening for permission. It is listening for truth that vibrates louder than trauma. So I ask you now, how have you been speaking when no one is watching? What do you whisper to your wallet in the dark? What do you declare while paying bills, while walking through stores, while folding laundry and remembering who you used to be? That's where money listens. That's where reality is coded, not in announcements, but in alignment, and every word is a blueprint, every phrase is a seed, every sentence is a door, either opening or closing your access to divine wealth, because words are not decorations, they are destinations. You don't describe reality, you deliver it. Say this slowly. My words build the future, my hands receive. Say it again, until it lands in your blood. My words build the future, my hands receive. What you speak, speaks back. And so many times, you thought nothing was working, when in truth, everything was obeying your hidden decrees. You said, I always struggle with money, and money said, yes. You said, I can never get ahead, and life bowed to your voice. You said, it's hard for people like me, and the gates stayed locked, not because you were unworthy, but because you were so powerful. Your words built walls instead of windows, not because you were broken, but because no one told you your voice was the command. Say it now. My language is the currency. Type it in the comments, not for me, but for your memory, so heaven can echo your return. My language is the currency. The tongue was never meant to be idle. It was meant to be sacred, and what you keep calling reality is just what your voice built yesterday. So let's rebuild, with reverence, with softness, with frequency that remembers who you are. Say, I am wealth walking. Say, money knows my name. Say, everything I desire is returning with interest. Say it, not to get it, but to remember you already have it, because the moment your language aligns with truth, matter bends, time yields, doors remember how to open, and provision walks in like it was waiting for you to finally speak what heaven already decided. Your voice is the gate. And if the gate is clogged with fear, with apologies, with sarcasm and self-judgment, wealth cannot flow through it. You are not just a woman. You are a system of frequency, a temple of truth, a walking oracle of spoken reality. Say this gently. I no longer speak lack in secret. Say it again. I no longer speak lack in secret, because, even when you nod in public and pretend all is well, if your voice still mourns lack in private, money will respond to the private. It always does. God hears the whispers, not just the affirmations. God hears the inner tone, not just the surface smile. And this is not punishment, this is power. This is the mercy of a universe so intelligent, it makes your word flesh. So choose them like prayers, choose them like spells, choose them like you're scripting the wealthiest chapter of your life, because you are. Say, I bless every dollar I touch. Say, money feels safe in my voice. Say, my reality is shaped by reverence. And when you feel yourself slipping, when the old language creeps in, when you hear yourself say, I can't afford it, pause, breathe, and revise. Say, that version of me no longer leads. Say, provision is catching up to my name. Say, everything is rearranging in my favor, because the power is not in the thought, it's in the tone, the frequency, the belief behind the phrase. You were never weak, you were just underspoken, but now you return as the one who commands, who affirms, who builds, with declarations instead of doubt. You return as the architect of spoken wealth. Say this aloud. My words build the future, my hands receive. Say it again until you feel your cells respond. Let your body shift as you speak. Let your nervous system remember what truth feels like. Let your life reorder itself in obedience to your voice. You don't need more effort. You need new language. You need sacred phrasing. You need the script of heaven placed back in your mouth. So speak now, not as the one who needs, but as the one who knows. Say, I declare wealth because I am wealth. Say, God already said yes, I'm just agreeing. Say, I walk in a reality, my words are building, and watch how the mirror changes. Watch how money moves. Watch how overflow becomes familiar, because the voice has returned to truth. And nothing resists the one who remembers how to speak like they've already been answered. You're not in Egypt anymore, but your voice still carries its dust. You are no longer bound, yet the way you speak still drips with the fear of former chains. You've left the desert, but your declarations still sound like someone lost in the wilderness. Beloved, your body has arrived, but your words haven't caught up. And this is the split. This is the reason you feel the ache of delay, because your voice still believes you're in a war zone, while your soul is already in the promised land. You keep calling it manifestation. But underneath, you're still trying to survive, still trying to sound humble enough, small enough, unnoticed enough, so God might pity you and toss you some crumbs. But you are not the beggar. You are the decree. You are not the desert voice. You are the milk and honey. You are not a child of lack. You are the prophecy fulfilled, and it's time your words remembered. Say this slowly. I speak as the one who has already arrived. Say it again, until your throat catches up to your destiny, until your nervous system starts relaxing into enoughness, until your tone begins to reflect the God who sent you. You are no longer surviving. You are not gathering fragments on the floor. You are the table now. You are the feast. And every word you speak is either building your home in the wilderness or planting your roots in the land of divine supply. You decide right here, with your next sentence. How do you speak when you believe heaven has already said yes? How do you phrase your reality when you know you're no longer being tested, you're being trusted? You see, survival doesn't just live in your past, it lingers in your voice, it echoes in apologies before asking, it shows up in disclaimers, in jokes meant to soften your worth, in prayers filled with desperation instead of devotion. But today, you return to sacred phrasing, you return to the way royalty speaks, with reverence. Not resistance, with quiet knowing, not clenched hoping, with rooted arrival, not rehearsed lack. Say this with breath. My words live in overflow now, and if this feels like home, type it in the comments, not for me, but for your own becoming. So heaven can echo what your mouth has finally remembered. My words live in overflow now. You're not asking for rain anymore, you're standing in it. You're not begging for entrance, you're unlocking doors with your voice. Survival taught you to whisper your needs, but abundance teaches you to speak like the answer. And you, beloved, you are the answer. You are the one your lineage prayed for. So say it, not to earn it, but to announce that your season has shifted. Say, God heard me. Say, I am no longer surviving. Say, I walk in what I once waited for. And then, notice the shift. Notice how time begins to obey you. Notice how provision stops hiding. Notice how money starts mirroring your tone. Because the promised land has rules, and one of them is this. You must speak as though you belong. No more apologizing for your presence, no more shrinking your light, no more disclaimers before your declarations. You are not a guest in abundance. You are the host. Say it again. I speak as the one who has already arrived, and let your words match the address you now live in. No more forwarding your truth to another season. No more speaking as if it's coming. Speak as if it's here, because it is. The only thing waiting is your voice. The frequency of your life is coded by the tone of your tongue, and when that tone still holds desert dust, the milk and honey stays just out of reach, not because it isn't here, but because you haven't spoken like you belong in it. Speak now, like lack was just a lesson, not a label. Speak now like supply is your native language. Speak now like fear is no longer your landlord. You're not renting hope anymore. You're owning truth. You're not pacing at the edge of your blessing. You're stepping in, speaking in, settling in. Say, I declare from abundance, not for it. Say, my voice no longer negotiates with lack. Say, everything I say now echoes heaven's yes. This is the new rhythm. This is the new residence, this is the new realm, and it is accessed not by effort, but by energy, not by force, but by frequency, not by grammar, but by glory. You don't need to try harder, you just need to stop speaking, like you're still in chains. Break the echo, break the apology, break the survival spell. You've crossed over, so speak like it. Let your voice sound like victory, let your tone hold softness and certainty, let your words drip with milk and honey. Because you are not in Egypt anymore. You are not a slave to provision. You are not building bricks for someone else's vision. You are not trying to deserve what's already yours. You are home, you are heard, you are held. Now let your words prove it. Say this aloud, not once, but daily, not for effect, but for embodiment. I speak as the one who has already arrived. Let this be the hour your language leaves the desert, Let this be the moment you stop dressing your voice in fear. Let this be the breath that makes your words a map to the life that already belongs to you. And every time you speak from abundance, every time your voice chooses trust over trauma, every time your sentence reflects your supply instead of your sorrow, the universe moves, the mirror responds, the reality reshapes, because the gate has opened, and you are no longer speaking from survival, you are speaking from arrival. Your body remembers what your mind tried to forget. It remembers the moment you were told you asked for too much. It remembers the sound of silence when you needed help. It remembers the nights you clenched your jaw just to survive the morning. It remembers the tightness in your chest when the bill came. And the breath left. Before the mind forms words, the nervous system whispers truth. And for so long, your nervous system was trained not for safety, but for scarcity. It rehearsed 1,000 small contractions each time someone said, "Be realistic, that's too expensive. Who do you think you are?" You swallowed every warning like scripture. You flinched at every mirror of your own desire. You made a vow, not in church, but in your breath, a vow to never be too much, a vow to survive what you couldn't speak. But today, the body becomes holy ground again. Today, we tell your nervous system the truth it was never taught. You are not in danger anymore. You are not in the famine anymore. You are not bound by the vow made in fear. Say this out loud. My body is safe enough to hold divine supply. Breathe again and again. Not to calm down, but to remember. This is not relaxation. This is resurrection. You are not born to flinch when wealth enters the room. You are not made to brace when blessings knock. You are not designed to fear overflow. You were born with spiritual capacity. You were born with room. You were born as the temple, not the tenant. Your wealth memory does not begin in your bank account. It begins in your spine. It begins in the breath you used to hold in. It begins in the jaw you used to clench. It begins in the belly you kept quiet. There is gold in your gut. There is light in your lungs. There is truth in your tension. This moment is not asking you to earn wealth. It is asking you to remember how to carry it. And memory, real memory, is not mental. It is cellular. It is spiritual. It is felt before it is known. It is known before it is seen. You are not just rewiring your thoughts. You are unbinding your breath. Let your nervous system feel this. You are not waiting for wealth. Wealth has been waiting for you. It did not pass you by. It sat beside you while you sobbed in silence. It stayed near your door when you begged it to leave, thinking you weren't worthy. It heard you when no one else did. And it whispered, "I will return when you're ready to receive without bracing." Now, you are. Now, your body no longer has to prepare for disappointment. Now, your voice no longer has to make room for guilt. This moment is not about getting rich. This moment is about remembering that your very cells were designed to host divinity. This is not ambition. This is alignment. Say this with your hand on your heart. Wealth is safe in me. Breathe. Again, slow. Let this breath not exit as fear, but return as faith. You have been told that overflow is earned, but your body knows abundance is remembrance, not something to perform, but something to return to. Your spine remembers standing tall before it was told to bow. Your breath remembers expanding before shame said shrink. Your hands remember holding harvest before they learned to beg. You are returning now, not to the trauma, but to the temple that held you through it. The nervous system is not your enemy, it is your altar. And today, the altar is cleared of fear. The vow is broken. The sacred contract is rewritten. Say this out loud. My body is safe enough to hold divine supply. If your body is listening, type "wealth is safe in me" in the comments below, and breathe. This is how the wealth begins to remember you, not through force, but through stillness, not through pressure, but through presence, not through noise, but through knowing. You are not here to flinch at fortune. You are not here to apologize for provision. You are not here to shrink when you were sent to stretch. Wealth is not a test. It is your timeline, and your nervous system is ready now to carry the memory, to carry the supply, to carry the sacred overflow, and never flinch again. You forgot who you were every time you said, "I can't afford that." You shrank your voice, not because God forgot you, but because you forgot to speak as her. You bowed your words. You begged with your breath. You whispered dreams as if they were too loud for heaven, but the truth has always waited beneath your tongue. You are not here to hope. You are not here to try. You are here to name, to command, to declare as the I am, and every dollar, every opportunity, every open door has been waiting for one thing, not your effort, not your hustle, not your sacrifice, your voice, not the voice trained by trauma, not the voice shamed by church, not the voice softened by silence, but the voice that knows its name in heaven, the voice that says, I am the one money answers to. Say that now, out loud, as if the universe has no other option but to obey. I am the one money answers to. Feel what rises. That is your remembrance. That is the unbinding of generational doubt. That is your original frequency reclaiming the stage. You do not summon wealth with fear. You do not invite overflow with permission slips. You command it not with arrogance, but with alignment, not with ego, but with essence. This is the moment. Your voice returns to its throne. Your nervous system may tremble. Your lips may quiver. The old script may try to rise. I don't know how. I've never seen it before. What if it doesn't come? But none of those are your real name. None of those are your original tone. Say this slowly. I am divine supply. I am overflow remembered. I am the gatekeeper of sacred provision. I am wealth's command. This is the sound money obeys. This is the tone lack cannot enter. This is the frequency that heaven already decided, and now, you match it. You are not waiting for money to feel safe with you. Money has always trusted your voice, even when you didn't. It remembered you in every prayer. It echoed in every tear you cried alone. It followed your silence. And now, it follows your sound. There was a time you thought the world responded to your doing, but the wealth realm has always moved by your saying, not I want, but I am, not I hope, but I decide, not I wish, but I declare. This is not grammar, this is Genesis. In the beginning was the Word, and the Word was not weak, the Word was not confused, the Word was not afraid, the Word was God. And when you say, I am, you are not asking for power, you are returning to it. Say it again. I am the one money answers to, not one day, not someday. Now, if you feel your voice rising, type I am wealth's command in the comments. This is not about shouting. This is not about volume. This is about vibrational certainty, the kind that rewrites rooms, the kind that bends time, the kind that parts seas and tells mountains to move. You don't need more words. You need aligned ones. Words that are married to your spirit. Words that are drenched in truth. I can't is a spell. I am is a prophecy. And today, the spell breaks. You are no longer surviving. You are no longer rehearsing fear in your mouth. You are no longer putting disclaimers on your divinity. You speak now from completion. You speak now from clarity. You speak now as the one who remembers. Heaven already said yes. Now it waits for your agreement. Declare it. I am the wealth. I am the overflow. I am the chosen. I am the return. And every dollar, every idea, every breakthrough begins to rise, because wealth never needed to be convinced. It only needed to be called, by name, by decree, by you. Your voice is not noise, it is code. It is the script heaven handed you before you were born. It is the vibration that writes tomorrow. It is the frequency that governs provision. So speak, beloved, not from pain, but from power, not from memory, but from identity. Say this, I no longer speak from lack. My tongue is a wand of wealth. I am the one money remembers. Breathe, feel that. This is not imagination. This is spiritual biology. This is the divine nervous system reclaiming its right to lead. You have begged for years. You have bargained with crumbs. You have learned the art of dimming yourself so others could stay comfortable in their limitation. But today, the apology dissolves, because you were never created to plead. You were born to proclaim. You are not asking money to come. You are commanding it with remembrance. You are not negotiating with heaven. You are reactivating your covenant. This is not a hustle. This is holy. And when your words shift, your world obeys, because money does not follow hustle. Money follows harmony. The moment you speak as I am, lack loses its address. The door opens. The air changes. Your posture realigns. Because the voice of I am does not bow to statistics. It does not bend for logic. It does not shrink for history. It only speaks. And so it is. Say this now, as the one who remembers, I am the one money answers to. Let it echo in your bones. Let it rewrite your bloodline. Let it undo every time someone told you you had to earn what was already yours. The trauma taught you to beg. The religion taught you to shrink. The culture taught you to prove. But none of that is original to your spirit. Your original voice is not burdened. It is bold. It is blessed. It is blameless. You are not trying to become her. You are already are her. You are the I am in flesh. You are the decree made visible, and every dollar, every divine connection, every thread of provision is already listening for the one who speaks without apology. This is your new language. I am supply. I am God's echo. I am worthy without explanation. I am the overflow. In motion, you are no longer speaking from delay. You are no longer speaking from survival. You are no longer using your mouth to repeat what hurt you. Now you use your voice to rebuild you, to call back what forgot your name, to remember what was never lost, to restore what was never broken, only buried. The tongue is a resurrection tool. Use it. Say this slowly, as if your soul is finally being heard. I am the one money answers to. And if your voice is rising, not shouting, but lifting, not louder, but truer, then type it now in the comments. I am wealth's command, because you are, because you always were, and now that your words remember, so does the world. You were not forgotten, you were not overlooked, you were not denied, you were not delayed, you were only silent, and heaven, beloved, was waiting for your sound, the sound of your truth, the sound of your I am, the sound of your inheritance, remembering itself through your voice, because the silence they taught you was not peace, it was erasure. The hush they demanded was not humility, it was self-abandonment in holy disguise. And now, Spirit is returning your voice to you, not the voice of apology, not the voice of survival, not the voice that whispers from the wounds of yesterday, but the voice of the one who was always heard, the voice of the one heaven never stopped loving, the voice of the one God already approved. You waited for permission, but the kingdom was already unlocked. You waited for confirmation, but God had already said yes. You mistook delay for denial, but it was only your sacred silence, your voice curled in grief, your mouth wrapped in memory, your sound hiding under systems that shamed your power. But now, open your mouth, let your voice prophesy again, let your frequency rise from the grave. Let the altar tremble from the sound of your worth returning. This is the moment where your yes meets God's. This is the space where your sound reactivates supply. This is the breath where your womb, your word, and your world begin to align. Say this now, like it's the first time your soul has been spoken into. God always heard me, now I speak like it. Not in fear, not in fragments, not in borrowed prayers or memorized scripts, but in the raw, holy dialect of a woman who was never denied, only disguised. You were not too late. You were too silent. You were not punished. You were paused by shame. But shame is not your shepherd. Fear is not your filter. And delay is not your destiny. You are here to speak as the one who carries the word, to speak as the one whose voice is an opening, to speak as the one whose decree, reality. You are not manifesting by formula. You are remembering by frequency. And frequency responds to sound. So open your mouth, not with desperation, but with dominion, not with doubt, but with divine knowing. Your silence was survival, but your voice is supply. Your silence was protection, but your voice is provision. Your silence was trauma's echo, but your voice is heaven's reply. You were not kept from it. You just stopped calling it. You were not forgotten. You just stopped identifying as the one who receives, but your voice, beloved, it is the signal, it is the code. It is the confirmation that your reality can now reassemble itself in divine design. Say this out loud, like your body was built for it. God always heard me. Now I speak like it. Say it again, and let the old sound fall off your bones. The begging sound, the doubting sound, the passive, hesitant, guilt-laced sound that whispered, maybe I'm allowed. No more maybes, no more muted miracles. You are not waiting, you are awakening. And if your soul is speaking now, not just hearing, but declaring, then type it into the field of remembrance. Heaven always said yes, because it did, and it still is, and now. So are you. Every time you spend, you are not losing, you are speaking, you are sowing, you are sealing a prophecy with your hand. Money does not leave you, it listens, it responds, it remembers the voice you wrapped around it, and then it returns with the shape of your sound. The words you speak before you release a dollar, they are not casual, they are codes, invisible, sacred, sovereign codes that tell the soil of the universe what to grow. They are not suggestions, they are instructions. So before you swipe, before you send, before you tap or tally or transfer, you must speak like heaven is listening because it is. You must speak like the ground is sacred because it is. You must speak like you are not spending, you are sowing, and sowing is not a loss. It is a multiplication in motion. It is invisible wealth remembering its way back home. Say this before you let it go. I sow every dollar into divine return. Feel that. Say it again, because you were never meant to shrink in the moment of release. You were never meant to speak fear before provision. You were never meant to say, there goes my money. You were always meant to say, there goes my blessing, and here comes my return. You do not spend, you activate. You do not release, you instruct. You do not give away, you assign. Your money is not confused, but your language once was. You spoke from fear, from shrinking, from lack memory, from the desert where you learned to calculate survival, but you don't live there anymore. You live in divine economy, where no dollar is lost, no seed is wasted, and no transaction is silent. This is spoken reality. This is subconscious reprogramming. This is wealth by decree. Every bill you pay, a divine offering. Every purchase you make, a faith contract. Every dollar that moves, a messenger from your mouth. So speak before you spend. Speak before you sow. Speak before you release. What was never yours to keep, only to circulate. Say this now, with your chest soft and your spirit open. I sow every dollar into divine return. Let the old voices tremble at this truth. The ones that whispered, what if it doesn't come back? The ones that said, you shouldn't have spent that. The ones that believed that giving meant emptying. No, beloved, you are not emptying. You are echoing abundance. You are not decreasing. You are directing. You are not losing. You are leading your wealth back to you. You do not ask money to obey. You command it with reverence, with alignment, with your I am voice fully present in the exchange. Because your spending is not an accident, it is an altar. Your card is not just plastic, it is prophetic. Your signature is not just legal, it is spiritual. And your spending is not random, it is sacred rhythm made visible. So bless it. Bless the space between letting go and receiving. Bless the silence before return. Bless the invisible realm where your voice builds the harvest. Say it again, slowly. This time, I sow every dollar into divine return. And if you feel the code unlocking in you, if your spirit recognizes this new truth, then type it into the field of overflow. I plant money in overflow soil. This is not a financial system. This is a frequency system. This is not budgeting. This is becoming. You are not playing defense anymore. You are prophesying abundance with every movement. So move like it, spend like it, sow like it, speak like it, because heaven always said yes. And now, so does your voice. It was never the job, never the paycheck, never the number on the screen. The numbers were just mirrors, echoes, reflections of something far older than your balance sheet, older than your work ethic, older than the digits you kept chasing with tired breath. The numbers obeyed a voice, and that voice was yours. The bank doesn't move first, the mouth does. The mouth writes the prophecy, the account must obey. You don't need more hours, you need more I am. You don't need a raise, you need resurrection, of your name, of your knowing, of your spoken identity, because every time you say, I can't afford that, I'm broke, I'm trying, you are not being honest, you are being hypnotized. Hypnotized by the old survival name, the one you were taught to wear, the one passed down through struggle and silence, the one you answered to in the wilderness. But hear this now, your spirit never agreed to that name, your soul was never called broke, your destiny was never stamped insufficient. That was borrowed language, not original design. And if your mouth doesn't change, your bank can't either. Money listens to your self-concept, it listens to your subconscious decree, it listens to the name you answered to in secret. Not what you hope for, not what you wish for, but what you call yourself. You say, I'm just surviving right now, and the bank account bows to that frequency. You say, I'm trying to get by, and your income obeys like a loyal servant. Because money is not personal, it is programmable, and it obeys whoever speaks with the voice of truth, even if the truth is a lie wrapped in trauma. But that's changing now, because your mouth is waking up, your voice is rising, your name is being rewritten. Say this out loud, slowly. I call myself chosen, and money agrees. Again, I call myself chosen, and money agrees, not because you earned it, but because you remembered it. Heaven already decided. You are not someone trying to be rich. You are someone remembering wealth as your birthright. You are not seeking overflow. You are learning to respond to the name it recognizes. What if your bank account isn't resisting you? What if it's just confused by what you keep calling yourself? You say, I'm bad with money, I'm always behind, nothing ever works out. And your finances follow, not because they hate you, but because they trust you. They trust your voice more than they trust your vision. And so the vision must now come through your voice. Say it again. I speak like a millionaire, not to impress the world, but to tell the truth. The truth that has always been waiting for your permission to rise. This is not ego. This is alignment. This is the law of spoken reality. You don't attract what you want. You attract what you are brave enough to name. You say, I am wealth, and every dollar listens. You say, I am chosen, and the field rearranges. You say, I am abundance, and suddenly, overflow recognizes its mother tongue. This is not self-help. This is soul memory. This is identity reprogramming. This is divine remembrance in motion. You are not becoming the one. You are remembering you were the one all along. And now, your mouth must match it. Match the name heaven whispered over you before you had language. Match the frequency your ancestors dreamed you would one day say. Match the truth that your trauma tried to silence, but it didn't win. You're here. And your voice still works, so use it. Say it again. I call myself chosen, and money agrees. If you feel this truth, if something in you is rising, if the name you used to answer to is dissolving right now in this moment, then type it, write it, speak it. I speak like a millionaire, because how you speak is how you seed, and how you seed is how you receive. This is not magic. It is order, sacred order, prophetic law. You call it, it comes. You affirm it, it forms. You embody it, it obeys. You've tried everything else. Now try speaking from your throne, the throne of I am, the throne of divine economy, the throne of spiritual inheritance that cannot be taxed, stolen, or denied, because you were never unworthy, you were just underspoken. But that ends now. Your mouth is not small, it is sacred, it is how worlds are born, and from this day forward, so is your wealth. You were never meant to wait for time. Time was always meant to wait for you. You were not born to chase outcomes. You were born to name them, to stand still and call them holy. There is a future that already knows you by breath, by blueprint, by blood. It does not need your hustle. It needs your word. It has been circling your frequency, waiting for your voice to become worthy in your own mouth. Say this slowly, like you're waking a sleeping star inside your chest. I declare what already knows my name, because the future is not far, it's only forgotten. It bends for the woman who remembers. It shifts for the one who commands. It softens at the sound of certainty. And when you stop speaking from the past, the future becomes obedient. No more saying, I hope it happens. No more begging timelines to behave. Now you say, it has already happened. Now, I walk it into form. The seed of tomorrow was never buried in time. It was buried in your tongue. And the harvest has been waiting on the sound of your remembrance. Every time you said, I don't know how, you paused. The arrival. Every time you whispered, maybe I'm not ready, you built a fence around the field where miracles were already rising. But now, you speak with the knowing that bends delay into divine schedule. You don't walk toward your future, you walk as it. Say this with breath that believes you. The future obeys my voice, not my wounds, not my fear, not my doubt, only my voice. When it is dressed in truth, you do not rehearse what's coming. You name it, you clothe it in clarity. You call it finished before it arrives. That's how heaven knows you've remembered. You are not becoming her. You are revealing her. You are not hoping for divine wealth. You are commanding what was promised before the calendar began. Say this out loud like a key opening a door you didn't know you locked from the inside. I declare what already knows my name. You don't speak from lack anymore. You don't speak from maybe. You don't speak from trying. You speak from throne, from covenant, from inheritance. You speak like the one who is already met, already seen, already fulfilled, and in that voice, money moves, people shift, doors bend. You were never forgotten, only silent, but now, you are remembering your power, and the future is kneeling to your breath. Breathe, there's no rush, the timeline is not late. It was simply waiting for the frequency of your I am. You are not trying to arrive. You are the place where destiny lands. You are not pursuing wealth. You are the location where divine supply recognizes its own reflection. Say this slowly, again. I declare what already knows my name. You don't pray from panic now. You decree from peace. You don't visualize from scarcity. You vision from spiritual memory, because God already said yes. Heaven already confirmed the design. The only thing left was for your mouth to make it law. Declare and receive. Speak and it is. No more silencing your knowing just to fit someone else's comfort. No more whispering your wealth like it's a wish instead of a witness. You were not made to walk on broken timelines. You were made to build new ones with the tone of your truth. The future isn't asking for proof, it's asking for prophecy. And you are the oracle now. The words in your throat are not just syllables, they are schedules. They are scrolls unfurling destinies. They are appointments with miracles that only show up when you say the sacred name, I am. You do not beg God for what's already yours. You say it like He said it, with breath, with power, with completion. The same voice that said, "Let there be light," now speaks through you. Let there be wealth. Let there be ease. Let there be restoration. Let there be divine partnerships. Let there be days soaked in joy. Let there be supply without striving. You are not waiting on it. It was always waiting on you. If this unlocked your timeline, type this in the comments. The future obeys my voice. You are not late. You are not behind. You are right on prophecy, right on promise, right on divine design. And now you say it again, not as a hope, but as law. I declare what already knows my name. And so it begins, and so it returns, and so it remembers you, as you remember yourself. There is a truth that money already knows, even if you forgot it, even if religion made you ashamed to feel it, even if the world told you wealth was earned through pain, through pressure, through proving. But money listens differently. It doesn't respond to logic, it bows to devotion. It doesn't answer to strategy, it flows to praise. What you thank, stays. What you bless, multiplies. What you resent, retreats. What you call sacred, surrounds you. You don't have to master numbers to prosper. You only need to master reverence, because praise is not passive, it's magnetic. Praise is not begging, it's commanding through gratitude. You thought you needed more money, but money was waiting for more appreciation. You thought you needed a breakthrough, but the gate was already open, your mouth was just closed. The moment you bless what you already hold, what you hold becomes seed, and seed obeys the law of increase. Say this gently, with breath that honors what's already here. I praise my provision, and it gathers in return. You don't need more to feel safe. You need to feel safe to receive more. And nothing makes money feel safe like being noticed, like being loved, like being praised. Money is a listener, a sensitive one. It hears you when you say, "This isn't enough." It hears you when you say, "I wish I had more." It hears you when you judge the wallet that once fed you. And it remembers, but money also remembers the one who says thank you before the miracle, who says, "You're enough," even when it's still growing. It remembers the one who praises every penny like it's prophecy. What if money doesn't multiply because you earned it, but because you exalted it? What if money doesn't disappear because you mismanaged it, but because you dishonored it? You are not a manager of money. You are a worshiper of wealth frequency, not in greed, not in idolatry, but in sacred remembrance that all provision is holy, that divine supply was never about the number, it was always about the name you gave it. Say this out loud, even if your bank account looks quiet. I praise my provision, and it gathers in return. Speak it to the $1 in your purse. Speak it to the receipt you used to resent. Speak it to the transaction you once felt guilt over. Your praise transforms what you touch. When you thank the bill becomes blessed. When you praise the wallet, it turns into a wellspring. When you speak favor over the flow returns singing your name. God didn't ask you to perform. He asked you to remember. Remember what you hold is sacred. Remember what you call it. It becomes. Remember what you praise. You magnetize. Praise is not about pretending. It's about positioning. You praise it not because it's perfect, but because it's present. You bless it not because it's final, but because it's faithful. You honor it not because it's all, but because it's already here, already yours, already evidence. Say this again. I praise my provision, and it gathers in return. You don't have to fight for more when you thank what is. Gratitude turns the little into a ladder. Gratitude makes the invisible show up, because gratitude is a form of calling, a form of wealth coding, a form of identity shifting. When you say thank you, you say, I am safe. When you say thank you, you say, I am worthy. When you say thank you, you say, I am one with overflow. And that vibration cannot be ignored. Even heaven leans in when it hears it. Even the angels gather around the sound of praise from a woman who used to beg. You don't have to hustle anymore. You have to honor. You don't have to chase anymore. You have to cherish. This is sacred economy. This is spiritual wealth, where every coin carries memory, where every dollar holds identity. where every praise becomes permission for increase? What if the reason it hasn't multiplied is because it hasn't been seen, not looked at, seen, praised, blessed, thanked like an old friend? What if the reason it slipped away wasn't punishment but protection from a tongue that still called it not enough? But now your words are different. Now your breath is holy. Now your wallet feels like sanctuary, because the one holding it finally remembered who she is. Say this slowly, as if you're kissing the wind. I praise my provision, and it gathers in return. This is not just money. This is memory returning. This is wealth, remembering who it belongs to. You are not broke. You are breaking into remembrance. You are not poor. You are rich in awareness. And what you notice grows. What you love lasts. What you praise stays. If this resonates, if you feel this reprogramming your soul, type this in the comments now. Gratitude is my new currency. Let the algorithm hear your altar. Let the scroll stop at your truth. Let the spirit know that your mouth is now aligned with divine wealth. No more calling it hard. No more calling it stressful. No more saying I can't afford. You speak only this now. I praise, I bless, I gather, I multiply. Because what you bless becomes bound to you. Money doesn't belong to the smartest. It flows to the most sacred, to the ones who carry softness, to the ones who whisper favor instead of frustration, to the ones who give thanks before the miracle and again after. This is who you are now. This is what your voice creates now. This is what you walk in now. Divine wealth through divine reverence, abundance as remembrance, supply as spiritual confirmation. Say this one last time, with heart wide open, with hands ready to receive. I praise my provision, and it gathers in return. And so it does. And so it stays. And so it remembers who you are. You were not born to beg. You were not crafted in the image of lack. You were never assigned the language of survival. Yet somewhere along the way, you learned to speak the tongue of slaves. I can't afford that. That's too expensive. I don't know how. I'm not ready yet. I'm just trying to get by. It's always been hard. This is just how life is. These phrases did not come from your soul. They were handed to you by a lineage of limitation. Echoes from those who never remembered they were royal. And now you stand in the mirror of your remembrance. The moment has arrived to release every syllable that dishonored your divinity, every phrase that shackled your supply, every sentence that denied heaven's blueprint over your life. This is the hour you stop calling yourself a servant of struggle. This is the breath you reclaim the throne within. This is the decree that rewrites your destiny from the tongue outward. Say this slowly. Say it from your womb, from your spine, from the buried knowing within your belly. I serve as sovereign, not survivor. You have always been royal. You just forgot to speak like it. The throne is not a place you go. It's a frequency you remember. It's a posture you hold. It's a voice you reclaim. You are not here to serve wealth like a slave. You are here to summon it like a queen. Survivors serve out of fear. Sovereigns serve from overflow. Survivors plead for just enough. Sovereigns command divine return. Survivors pray from panic. Sovereigns declare with power. And you are remembering. You no longer apologize for wanting. You no longer shrink when you receive. You no longer negotiate with lack, because your words now carry lineage. They carry throne memory. They carry heaven's signature. You were always meant to speak as one who knows the storehouse is full. And if God is the source, lack cannot be the truth. The only thing that ever separated you was the sentence you surrendered to. But today, you walk away from the tongue of trauma. Today, you release the identity of just enough. Today, you clothe your mouth in majesty. Say this again with sacred breath. I serve as sovereign, not survivor. This is not a performance. This is a pronouncement. The universe does not respond to effort. It responds to essence. And your essence is not struggle. Your essence is she who remembers. You remember who you are by how you speak. So, say no more. I can't. Say no more. I never have enough. Say no more. Money doesn't like me. Say no more. Maybe next time. Say no more. I'm afraid to want too much. That is the language of a woman still negotiating with Egypt. But you are walking out. You are walking tall. You are walking free. And the Red Sea parts for royalty, not because they perform, but because they remember. God didn't create you to serve wealth like a slave. He created you to speak wealth into being, to declare and receive, to name and inherit, to sow and reign. The field is yours, the harvest is ready, but the reaping is done by your voice. Say it aloud. I serve as sovereign, not survivor. You don't need to explain yourself anymore. You don't need to justify your worth. You don't need to shrink your prayers to fit someone else's comfort, because the ones who walk in power never beg for permission. And you walk in divine wealth because you finally believe you are worthy of it. No more apologizing for desiring beauty, for craving softness, for choosing ease, for claiming joy. You are not asking for luxury. You are remembering alignment. You are not greedy. You are grounded in God's supply. You are not chasing. You are choosing. And the wealth that was waiting now remembers your voice. It no longer sees a beggar. It sees a blueprint. It no longer hears desperation. It hears dominion. It no longer smells fear. It smells favor. If this remembered you, type this now in the comments. I left the language of lack. This is your altar. This is your echo. This is the spell being broken. What once ruled your mouth no longer has access to your future. You speak now in miracles. You speak now in overflow. You speak now in truth over trauma, because heaven already decided. God already heard you. The storehouse was never locked. You were just speaking in the language of famine. But famine breaks when favor speaks. Lack ends when remembrance returns. Your voice is now an invitation to divine wealth, not earned, but inherited, not forced, but flowed, not survived, but served from sovereignty. Say it one last time. I serve as sovereign, not survivor. And let every dollar hear you. Let every cell agree. Let every old identity fall off. Let every gate open. Let every timeline respond. You were never meant to serve wealth. You were meant to command it by being. You are no longer surviving. You are ruling. You are rising. You are remembered. And now you speak accordingly.